Good Friday evening to you all out there, and welcome into another episode of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Jacob, Mr. Casey Kinnaman, and Nick Carnes down below. Brought to you as always by our friends over at SeatGeek. You know what? I don't even need to tell you what you need to use SeatGeek for.
Nope.
What I do need to tell you is go to SeatGeek to get your tickets. Use our promo code Barking Browns, all one word, and get yourselves $20 off your purchase to go see your Browns this year. If you're on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube, go to the youtube.com/@thebarkingbrowns and hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, hit that little bell. At first I put the stream out not on Twitch and I edited it, so that's why there was a weird delay there. Gentlemen, I was going to immediately say, gentlemen, how are you? But hearing Jimmy Donovan's
same man. I was coming on here to celebrate, and then.
Right. I hear his voice in there, man. And for anybody who doesn't know, Jimmy Donovan announced yesterday. Maybe it was the day before. I think it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
That his cancer's back. It's aggressive, and it's forcing him to retire from being the voice of the Browns that he's done for 25 years. I personally do not remember a game that I've ever heard that Jimmy Donovan didn't call, because that's most of my life. I was 8 years old when Jimmy became the voice of the Browns, and it's just a gut punch, man. And I just thoughts, prayers, well wishes, everything to his family, because I know Jimmy will fight like hell, because that's just what he does. But God, I hope they win one for him, man.
Yeah. So part of my job is I'm driving around and I'm in my head most of the day, and a lot of today was spent thinking about Jim Donovan. And I got to speak about it a little bit last night on All Eyes on Cleveland, but one of the marks of a man, in my opinion, is your ability to feel for others, because it's easy to get caught up in your own bullshit. It's easy to be like, is something happens, what does it mean for me? How does that play out in my life? But think about Jimmy, man. 21 years in the booth, and you finally make the playoffs again, right? And in that moment of jubilation, Baker gets the first down. It's secured. You're going to the playoffs. What was Jimmy thinking? Jimmy was thinking about us. Yeah. Jimmy was thinking about the fans in that moment.
That line, what's missing all of you, that line gets me every time.
I'm about to cry, dude. He's us.
Yeah.
We're with you, man. He will remain the voice. He'll be on this intro song until this intro song no longer exists. Dude, that's It's a tough hit, man, and everyone's behind you, brother. Every single one of us.
I know the show is lighthearted, but sometimes it's deeper. And from The Office, it's from Ed Helms, and he says, I wish there was a way to know when you were in the good old days. And it's one of my favorite quotes, because I think about that all the time. And I was watching the video of Jim Donovan smashing the Steelers guitar before that game. And, it's cool to think about how he called all those games last year. And it's just like the Browns had the most home wins in the NFL. And maybe the playoffs didn't go the way it did. They wanted it to, but it was quite a season to be able to call it. I'm happy for him that he got to have that type of excitement. And just on a personal note, I can think, so Jim Donovan came back with the Browns and really, so I'm 34 now, and really since I've been able to understand football was 1999 and forward. So it's like he's always been the voice of the Browns for my entire fandom, right? So this is just going to be weird, but I think just on a more fun note, I can't think of any other announcer I've ever known or any other fan base I've ever known that so many people would mute the broadcast and sync up the radio with the game itself. We used to do that at my grandma's all the time. We had this big old stereo next to the TV, and we'd get it perfect. It wasn't always easy, but we did it. And it's just that it just speaks to how great Jim Donovan was at what he did. and he made the Browns come to life. I'm forever thankful for that. We've been really blessed in this town. And I don't know. I don't know how to do Browns football without Jim Donovan. So it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird, but just sending all the goodness to him. Seeing his daughter, Megan Donovan's been on Twitter and joined some spaces, talked to other Browns fans about, her dad's battle and that kind of stuff. And, sending good vibes to her too. And it's just weird. It's weird. Love Jim Donovan.
I had a chance to, and you were there for this, Nick. You probably remember this, but we were able to briefly talk to Jim Donovan at training camp. More of just like a high wave kind of thing. We didn't really get a conversation in with him or anything like that. But the first Browns training camp I ever went to in 2021, which was kind of weird because it was still a little bit COVID-y. There were some restrictions and stuff, but we were just standing there as the players were starting to leave the field and just come strolling up. Just come strolling through the crowd, shaking hands, giving hugs, just, taking pictures. Like, he was the man of the people. Like, he is a man of the people. I'm not going to say was like he's gone because he's not. But that I just mean, like, when I think about his career, which at this point is on pause or over one way or the other, like, no matter what, it just kind of, that's where they are. He's stepping away at this point. But like, I look back at that, it's just like you said, like you brought up you brought up that line, what's missing all of you, and that he was one of, and it's just like, there's a lot of bad people out there. Why don't we curse them with stuff like this? That's the thing I always come to, is I'm like, why do the good people go through this stuff? And it's just like, no matter what, you said it, Nick, no matter what, he will always be the voice of the Browns. I will never, whenever a big game happens or a big moment happens in a game, I'm on the internet trying to find Donovan's call. Like, if I was at the game, like, I've been to those games, like, and we had that party on Platform Brewery for Cade York's 58-yarder to beat the Panthers that year. And the first thing I did after I got out of Cleveland and got stopped to get some gas and get something to eat was go on the internet to find Jim Donovan call it. Hear him and Zagura. And that's probably one of my favorite calls of all time, was him and Zagura calling that kick. And they were all just bananas, man. They went it was just an amazing situation. And I'm grateful that we got all of that time.
We should be. We got to experience the GOAT, like the voice. And I 1000% believe that this franchise will preserve his legacy.
I think so.
I have no doubts. He means that much to everyone.
I mean, you see all this stuff. Like, Browns fans, we love to fight each other, man. We do. Browns fans, we love to fight each other. But you even think about saying a negative word about Jim Donovan, we will come for you. We
will unify quickly.
I think here's my biggest thought about Jim Donovan is so from like 1999 forward, the Browns have around like a 35%-ish win rate. And there were fans that, you could leave the game. You could turn the game off if you were frustrated. You could just space yourselves away from the Browns in all of those lost seasons that we had. But Jim Donovan never could, right? It takes a special kind of person. He
wouldn't want to.
No, he wouldn't want to. But it takes a special kind of person to bring that energy and enthusiasm and optimism and excitement through one of the worst runs of Browns. Like I can't imagine another person that could just bring the same energy like through thick and thin. That's truly what Jim Donovan did. And I'm so glad that Browns football has become better in recent years, and he's gotten to call more games and gotten to go to the playoffs and have that enthusiasm for something good, because I can't imagine that, the toll that some of those games would take on a normal person is not Jim Donovan, man. He's special. He's special, and there's just no other way to say it.
I just hope he knows, and I think he does, but I hope he knows what he means to everybody. Like, I really do, because I don't know, man. Like, that shit matters to me. Like, it does. Hey, I saw Serge's comment that Jim Donovan was on our home 3 to 4 hours every week, every fall growing up, more than some family members. Yeah. 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 MC said, I like MC's comment too. Oops, sorry. We both hit it at the same time, I think. MC's comment, it's amazing that over all these years, I've never heard one bad thing said about Jimmy. I don't think I ever have.
Nope. I don't believe you ever will.
And if I do hear it, I'll punch you in the mouth.
Quick.
We didn't intend to do that for the first 12 minutes of this show, but I'm glad we did.
Well, can I pivot us out?
Sure.
My man Jacob over here got a job.
Yeah.
He is now employed by the Orange and Brown Report. He is our official draft guy. It's been a few weeks in the making that we've known about it and not really been able to talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's official. He's got articles on the site.
Hell yeah.
He is officially part of the OBR, and we are all better for it, and we should celebrate that. This is pivot off the Jimmy. Like, it's sad, and that sucks. But we have football going on now, and Jacob just had something really awesome happen to him, and we should all be happy for him. And I can't wait to read his stuff and maybe even piggyback and jump on a show with him.
Yeah, man, I think what it's funny is it's going to sound so lame because it's exactly what you said a few weeks ago. This was the dream, man. This was the organization. This was the peak that I was trying to climb. Like, I mean, the OBR is what got me into this stuff, you know, and I've talked to a lot of people about that, where it's just like that was for me, it's the pinnacle of Browns coverage. Like it has been for me, it has been for, I really started getting heavy into this stuff about 2018. Started to get really, really deep in the fantasy things. And then I started doing some Twitter stuff and some things around that time. So like, it's been like, this is what I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to be a part of that team. I'm just grateful. I'm just eternally grateful because I just get this platform, and I appreciate all the kind words in the comments. I just wanted to talk about the Browns, and I want to talk about the NFL draft and college football and just like have a good time. And that's where I'm at now. And it's just really fucking cool. Like, that's just,
yeah, man. Hell yeah.
It's just how I feel about it. I just feel like it's cool. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I did do it. I tried to make my debut on the post-game show at 2 a.m. after the Seattle game, but I couldn't stay up. And the debut had to wait. But I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate everybody on social media and everything that's kind of reached out, some people via text and Facebook and stuff, and it's just like, I don't know, man, like, it's cool to, like, there's some people that said some nice things about me on Twitter today about just, like, never hating, like, always enjoying a conversation between them and me, you know, over the years on Twitter and stuff. It's like, oh, I really enjoy the conversations we've had, and, you know, and even people I haven't talked to much in a while, and it's just like, I don't know, man, like, we wouldn't know each other except for sports and for talking about this shit, and like, here we are, and I think our lives are better for it. Our wives might disagree, but like,
Jesus, would they? That's mine right now. You got a show. I got a show.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, maybe I should put a disclaimer asterisk on it. But I do have some bad news. I have not calculated the 53-man roster.
It's okay. I won. We can all agree right now that I won, and then let's go about our lives. I probably didn't. But we can just agree that I did, right?
You were the one that picked Javion Cohen to make the roster, didn't you?
I didn't, so it must have been.
I didn't either.
Yeah, but I had Mikey Tree, so I know I missed there.
Okay.
I also had 4 running backs. with Chubb on the pup, called that, but then I put 4 running backs on, and now it's 2. So
what's 3 now?
Yeah,
3
now it's 3.
We went off the original 53. That was the disclaimer that we made.
So okay,
Maybe next year we should shift it to the 48 hours later.
Okay, so are you ready to hear mine and how it's not totally terrible. It's not totally terrible, but it gets really bad right out the gate. So I got the quarterbacks. I had all 3.
They had 4.
I had 3.
Yeah, but they had 4.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like
we didn't go great out the gate. We missed one right away.
Hey, Drew over there gifting subs and everything.
Yo, thank you.
Drew's been with me for like one of the first people I ever really talked to on social media was Drew and an old Navy vet, you know, and we have just totally different walks of life, right? Like, but like I've had so many awesome conversations with Drew, and we've really, and he's, you know, I'm not gonna like get too deep into the woods and stuff, but like I just really appreciate Drew. I really MC Drew, Roger, Andy, like MC, like all you guys. Like I love you guys, and everybody else. I love you too. But those guys, they've fucked with me for years. Like they're like, this is, you know, and my Brown Mike, who's a Brownie Elf on Twitter. Mike been there. It's just it's really freaking awesome, guys. So
well, the journey continues, man.
Yeah, this is a really big step, and I'm really happy for you. I'm really happy for. I mean, you both do so many different things. It's like I'm just trying to make some content on X, and that's like that somehow monopolizes all my time. And I don't know how you both do all the things you do, but kudos to both. I also did not make it. I wanted to. So Jacob told me originally that you both were going to be on the OBR post game show, and I was like, oh, cool, I want to be there. And it was like 12:30, and my eyes just shut.
It's the exact time I went to bed was 12:30. I was like, I'm out. I was like,
for it.
My old ass took a nap at halftime.
There you go.
Yeah,
that happened. I did. My wife had to wake me up in the third quarter. So,
that was probably my favorite story from that weekend. Okay, so and some of these guys have in fact gone to injured reserve that I could have replaced. I just never did it. So I had Watson, Winston, DTR, so I'm off a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, cool piece of trivia someday. Jacob missed his first day on the you should have seen it too. Like I just bowed out in the Slack. I was like, guys, I can't make it. I'm going to bed. I was like,
you weren't alone. You weren't alone. Other people did as well.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, so I had 4 running backs, Chubb and Hines at the top. So I would have got to replace those guys, but not really because I took them saying they would get activated. So I guess I didn't get to replace those guys. I did have 4.
Even if you would have put other running backs on.
Yeah, I did, but I put Foreman and Ford. I got 1. Now they only kept 2, but I said they would get 4, and one of those things was correct. I got the receivers: Cooper, Judy, Moore, Tillman, Thrash, Bell. I got the 6 there. Akins and Njoku. I got the tight ends. I Wills, Conklin, Jones, Teller, Batonio, Posick. So I got all of them. Then I had Allen, who I replaced with Whippler. I did replace him with Whippler, but then, you know, Zenter, I had a Denegi, and Denegi would have made this roster if he wasn't hurt.
Yes.
That he was playing well.
Huntley threw a terrible interception, and then it ended a Denegi's season.
Yeah. Jermaine Ifedi. We go to the other side. It was pretty good, except for the one. I had Miles, Zadarius, Ogbo, Wright, Tomlinson, Harris, Mike Hall I had on there, but he could have been replaced with Hurst. Jefferson, McGuire, and I had Ika. So I got 5 of the 6 linebackers because I had JOK, Hicks, Bush, Watson, and Diabate. I would have gotten the other one. 6 would have been Tony Fields if I thought they were going to keep 6. I didn't. And then I did the Ward, Newsome, Emerson, Mitchell, Hardy, and Harden, and then Thornhill, McLeod, Delpit, and Hickman. So I redeemed myself a little bit on defense, but that offense was that was pretty rough on me. I did not.
I think I missed.
Part of that's because we didn't actually do the replacing of the.
Yeah, we just dropped the ball there because I missed D'Anthony Bell, Halasi.
Yeah, I missed those ones.
And Cohen, right? Which our old friend. So just
if we had done replacements when Adeniji and it went out, I might have selected Cohen because we did so many. We had multiple offensive linemen fall off. We had 3 offensive linemen, at least on my list. I don't know if you guys had all 3 of Adeniji's, Posick, and Whippler, but yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Nick.
No, you're okay. Because we weren't live Tuesday, so we didn't get to do like the 53-man roster reaction. But
I was on the OBR show, the 53.
That's fair. I'm just saying. So I'm just looking at the roster because honestly, this has been a hell of a week, and I haven't really gotten the chance to look at it all up and down. So I mean, there's some.
It's like also the last week before you have to be ready.
Yeah.
So sometimes I spent some time and I have an OBR piece up on 3 Browns prospects in tomorrow's Clemson Georgia game. But outside of that, I unplugged a little bit at times too.
So well, I guess I look at the roster this way. Player I feel the best about making the roster, and player I'm most surprised about making the roster. The player I feel best about making the roster is Miles Harden. I think that was awesome. We all love that pick right off the bat. It's a 7th round pick that's made your roster, and that has proven to them that they may have found something there in the 7th round. Player I'm most surprised about making the roster is probably Khalif Halasi, but I mean,
that's fair.
It's really hard to replace size, man, and that dude's got an awful lot of it. So I'm fine with that. But and I just think I'd like to ask both of you: what's the player you feel best about? What's the player you're most surprised about?
I was surprised that we are 3 straight years of a UDFA. Like that's the roster is big, as stacked as it is. That you're actually now drafting guys who aren't making it, but there's UDFAs that have snuck on 3 consecutive years. Like that would be one for me.
I was about to be a dumbass and be like, who was it this year? I guess I just blanked on Cohen there for a second.
Which we all knew they liked him. Obviously, he was super attached during the draft process. There was all kinds of smoke around him. But I'll say this: I did not see them not retaining a special teams player on the 53. They've done it. Last year it was 2. Last year was Matt Adams and Mike Ford.
Right.
They've always had that guy. They always had a spot on the roster for that guy, and now they've shifted to not having that because I think they understood that you expose Harden or Halasi, you probably don't get those guys back. Those guys probably get swooped up in the waivers, and then you don't have So they figured they could get away with exposing Hardy because if you're this late in the process, pretty much every team has their special teams guys.
Yeah.
So like and
that's not what you're going waiver wire shopping for 9 times.
Exactly. So it's a smart calculation, but we didn't see it coming. Completely blindsided by it. Also, we have set precedent. For years, it was Browns love their guys, and everyone's making the roster year over year. And then you see Schwartz get cut, and it's like, okay, he was going into year 3, it wasn't happening. Anthony Schwartz is gone. Yeah. York going into year 2. His is a little different because he's not a position player, and his struggles were massively public because they're right in front of everyone's eyes. You can't lie to us.
Yeah, sometimes you can hide like a bad defensive line.
Yeah,
you can't hide.
Trying to develop. Like, now this is supposed to be our kicker. He's not making kicks.
The one thing he's supposed to do.
Right.
But Ika, they walked away from Ika after 1 year. So we have precedent now for position players that Barry's going to be like, all right, it just ain't happening. And
even day 2 draft capital.
I think it was Jake Burns who cut up the clips But there was someone that put out like a montage of preseason Siaki Ika, and it was.
I saw it. I can't think of who it was.
It was not good. That's as nice as I can be.
Unplayable. It's unplayable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was like so shocked when he got that pressure the other day. I was like, whoa.
So was he.
I know. He stopped running.
We're surprised we were.
He's like, what the hell am I doing in the backfield? I'm not supposed to be here.
But okay, so I know we're gonna get into all of that, but okay, so Casey, you gave us your biggest surprise. Who's the player you feel best about making the roster?
I was gonna say his answer.
Diabate.
Okay.
Diabate, he impressed me so much this year in the preseason. He was so exciting last year, but it was chaotic, and he was overrunning plays. He was just everywhere. He's super athletic. He showed us some decent skills as an off-ball backer, but like he was super trusting his technique this year, being patient, waiting for things to develop and triggering downhill, playing like fundamentally sound. I can see a world in which 2 years from now, that dude is a real player on the defense, like a interval part of it.
Yeah, they got kind of a type, don't they? These athletic linebackers that just they don't even have to be as like instinctual as some players because their freak level athleticism can make up for some like you talked about it, Casey, when we've had some conversations about like Devin Bush. I can remember some conversation we've had this offseason where it's like he doesn't always guess right, and he doesn't always guess right away. But as long as he figures it out, he has the physical tools to still make a play. Like, because it's that level of athleticism, and they do it with JOK and Diabate. And
even Fields. Fields is an ex-college safety, excellent movement skills. Like they value those movement abilities, and they've officially embraced because we don't have to go too far back in linebacker, man. If you were under 240, it was like a foreign thing, and now it's a bunch of these dudes that are like 228 to 232.
You see the same thing happen at wide receiver as well. You know, that you got guys like
all over the place
Tank Dell and Xavier Worthy, just like.
And then you got DK Metcalf.
Right.
It's like, I was listening, and I don't know, Casey, maybe you've heard this, but I was listening to, I haven't finished it, but the NFL Stock Exchange podcast, my favorite draft podcast. They did linebackers. They did their final summer scouting, and they said the exact same thing. They're like, they kept talking about the size, and he was like, both Trevor and Connor were like, they kind of hesitate a little bit, and they're like, 8 or 9 of our top 12 guys we've watched are under 50th percentile in size as a linebacker, because that's where it is now. Like he's like, they're like, it used to be you needed to be 245 and you were seeing 240, 250, 255. Now you even said it, you're getting guys in the 220s that are going in the first round of the draft. Like that's not, and not just off ball or pass rushers, but you're getting off ball linebackers too. Like you're getting these guys. I mean, not just in the first round, but the first couple of rounds. Like with JOK, he was a second round, but that was a first round buzz guy who was not a linebacker in terms of standard size and strength. You know, weight, and you're just like.
It's an interesting like cat and mouse game between like how offensive players are evolving and then how defensive players have to evolve with them.
Yeah.
The offense always gets to go first too.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, we got to pivot and do this now. Do you guys remember like 2 years ago when they like the linebackers were decimated and they brought in Reggie Ragland and it just looked so different because he was big.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like that dude's big. Like we have
That's what we all said. We're like, look at that dude.
Heart for those thumpers, you know. Yeah. That's what he is. But like this league is moving away from it because everything's getting spread out. And you need these guys who can execute, you can move in space. And the Browns have fully leaned into that. They have a ton of dudes who are uber athlete at the position. But Diabate would be my answer for a guy I feel really good about because he got on last year. They kept him. Really didn't get to make much of a difference. Played 60% of the special team snaps. So that's probably his avenue really right now. But I think seeing his development from year 1 to year 2, I feel good about his trajectory.
He looked like more than just a dude trying to out-athlete everybody.
Yep.
Because that's who he was last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was just trying to, because in college he could just out-athlete everybody.
And against third stringers, it worked in the preseason, but then, and it's not going to work in a regular season. You need to
You need to look like a linebacker.
So, yep. Jacob, biggest surprise of the roster and player you feel best about making the roster?
I think the biggest surprise for me was DeAnthony Bell. And not because I don't like DeAnthony Bell, but I just couldn't find a slot for a 5th safety. Because in my mind, it was going to be 6 corners, 4 safeties, and 10 defensive linemen. Instead, we get 6 corners, 5 safeties, 9 defensive linemen. Very, very intrigued to see if that holds next week.
Yeah, me too.
Because I thought we would see a few more moves. Like they bring back Foreman. We knew that was going to happen. But I thought we were going to see some more moves after the 53. And maybe they're just like, let's go home for Labor Day. We'll figure it out later. So I kind of expected more. But I like DeAnthony Bell. But, as Casey has pointed out before, you can't make the club from the tub. And I thought that was going to happen to DeAnthony Bell. Not that
I thought Fields and him both suffered that fate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because I thought Fields had to show some things to justify bringing him back another year, and then he gets hurt. And I was like, well, you're not going to be able to do that. And, and he still makes the roster, which credit to what he has shown that coaching staff in the past, because that's why he made the roster. And the same thing with DeAnthony Bell. But I just, even with Mo Hurst, who makes the roster, and I think that has a lot to do with the Mike Hall situation, but I couldn't find Mo Hurst's spot, and I couldn't find DeAnthony Bell's spot. So in Bell's case, somebody didn't get taken off the roster and needs a replacement, because that's kind of how Mo Hurst, I think, made it, was because, they were replacing Michael Hall. I'm happy for DeAnthony Bell. I love these UDFAs legitimately taking – you talked about 3 straight years. These UDFAs literally have been up to the challenge of what the preseason is supposed to be for. It's for these bottom of the roster guys that are UDFAs from small schools. He was the first dude from his college to make an NFL 53-man roster last year. First one.
Wow.
So truly was able to do that American dream sort of thing. He just was like, you know what? You're going to count me out. You're going to count me out. I'm going to go out here and bust my ass and make the roster. And he makes the roster again. So I'm happy, but I was surprised by that. I couldn't find the roster spot. And so that's where, that's where it was. I think Cohen's my answer for most excited about.
Oh, okay.
Wait, for what?
Sorry. You're right. I flip-flopped it.
I was trying to remember. I was like, is it most excited? I was like, I was going to, I don't be like, that's my pick for most fun. And not be what we were talking about at all. And it's like, oh shit. Okay. I think he had some struggles at times in the preseason. And they played him on both sides a little bit. But what?
Sourdough, cream cheese, and caramel apple spread with cinnamon on top.
Did you bring enough for the group?
Are we sharing? Oh, baby.
It's fall, biatch.
Oh, right. It is fall. So while I tell Casey this next story, I'm not going to do anything weird. So, I was walking on the street the other day. You see that? See that? You see that? Shit.
It's 100 degrees outside. What is your problem?
It's
100 degrees. Dude's lighting a pumpkin candle.
It's about to fall off a cliff here. I mean, by cliff, I mean the high today was 94.
Yeah.
And the high tomorrow's 82, followed by 80, 68, 74. And then we got a couple 80s. We're going down. We got lows in the low 50s, Casey. We are ready.
For pumpkin candles?
Oh yeah.
You silly bitches.
This is
Silly bitches.
I think
I had my
Serge
first-
had a question for you about next Sunday's weather, Nick.
Now, I had my first pumpkin bread today.
You just went right past that question.
What?
I said Serge is asking you what's next Sunday's weather looking like.
What's next
The home
Sunday?
opener.
Oh, great question. Sorry. Sorry, it's been a long.
But Javion Cohen, sorry.
Next Sunday, 71-56.
Ooh, that's good. That's good football weather.
baby.
Good football weather.
Cohen's a dude I loved in the draft. There was a lot of smoke. And I love the underdog winning, man. And I think he's a really nice piece. Pretty good pass blocker, needs to figure out the run stuff. But I think he can be an effective, really nice swing guard style situation. So I just thought that was really cool. And
I just want to say I changed my answer to guy I'm happiest for. And it's absolutely Mo Hurst, because we haven't been trying to, but we've been predicting that his roster spot would be gone since the Browns drafted Michael Hall, right? And Jack Duffin very directly said that them picking Michael Hall would cost Mo Hurst, and I just think it's a reminder that you never know how events are going to play out. And I loved seeing him, really reclaim his career last year, and for him to make the roster again and to still be here is such another example. Like, I get it. Okay. People were upset about the Siaki Ika pick at the time. People are upset, that he gets cut and they say, hey, this is a 3rd round pick that you just threw into the void. But there's so many more examples. We're talking about 3 straight years of a UDFA making the Browns roster. You're talking about finding guys, like Miles Harden in the 7th round. And I get it. He hasn't contributed yet, but I definitely do expect him to be a contributor. There's just so many examples of Andrew Berry and the staff being able to find guys that maybe other teams passed over, or just giving that next opportunity to a guy to really find their way. And I think Mo Hurst is a great example of that. And so, yes, obviously you want the GM to hit every pick, but it's just Andrew Berry's ability to find talent in different ways, so that, yeah, like obviously you want to hit on every pick, but even if you miss, you can still fix that in other ways. And that's really what I think separates AB from other Browns GMs of the past.
Well, let's talk about it, because it'd be different. Like, say you cut Anthony Schwartz and Anthony Schwartz goes to another team and lights it up. Then you're a fool. When he's toiling away on a practice squad, you know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, you took a swing. I see why you took the swing. It didn't work out. I would rather you take the swing and then be able to recognize when it's time just to walk away and cut bait. You know what I mean? Seahawks is the same thing. Like, yes, it didn't work, so it's a bad pick, but it's not a bad investment because you didn't allow it to be. It's a bad investment if you continue to try to develop that dude. He eats a roster spot. Meanwhile, you cut Mo Hurst, who's an actual playable piece, to try to develop this guy, and it's just not there. Recognize that it's not there and walk away. You're going to miss picks. That's the game, man. Like, no GM goes without. Like, the Colts cut like 3 dudes they drafted this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
dude, what the fuck is up with that?
So it's just understand, like, it'd be bad process to hold on to these guys when there's nothing there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I get taking swings. You needed a guy who could be a 2-gap run stuffer. You took a shot at Ika. He wasn't that. You walked away. It isn't continuing to hurt your roster. Now, would you rather use that 3rd round pick on someone else? Yes. But hindsight's always 20/20. You're going to swing. You're going to miss. Just don't. He's growing as a GM. He's one of the youngest GMs. He's still growing in the process. But I think we're seeing him be able to recognize when it's a bad investment and just cutting bait and not just double down because you already have equity put into it, and to continue to put time into it and then kick other good players out the door. Like, this is I like where we're at now.
I think the really important part for me of what you just said was that you were kicking out other good players. Like, it's okay to swing and miss and think you can develop someone. That's why Anthony Schwartz got I would say a second and even his third season, because there were some injuries and stuff, and they were just, he didn't get a full 3 years. That's when they cut him, but they still kept him around for that entire offseason. And that was because if I can develop what he has what not a lot of other people have. But even then, if there is nothing there and you get rid of, Mo Hurst, you get rid of Mo Hurst to keep Siaki Ika in that situation. Yeah.
Hey.
But also,
my guy.
I'm saying Jamari Thrash is his most excited.
Yeah, that's cool too. That's I feel good for him.
Best about was the actual category. I'm just seeing that.
I will say this: I hope that Jamari Thrash gets an opportunity to return punts. I hope that happens.
That would be so much fun.
I hope that happens.
Oh yeah.
I have Thrash on multiple dynasty teams, and I'm really excited about it. I do think he can play. I think he can play, and I think he'll prove to be a 5th-round find that's a contributor. And I know he's buried in the Browns wide receiver room right now, but you never know what happens, man. You never know.
I mean, if this offense is what we think it's going to be, you're talking about a lot of targets. And I know he's down there. But
he should be. He's a rookie.
He should
have playable people in front of you, but he did flash enough skill. I want look. You can manufacture those touches by getting him some punts, get him some experience. I think he can make people miss in the open field. I think he's kind of electric with the ball in his hands. So that's the route I would go.
Find ways to put the ball in his hands. I just think that you always see a minor injury or so in the wide receiver room too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's got a path to 25, 35 targets, maybe somewhere in that range.
As we said today, but like you said, that could evolve. Someone could miss us 3 games, and all of a sudden you need to piecemeal that, the X position, and he gets a third of that, and then all of a sudden he breaks one,
or he comes in a situation later in a game where it's, players are tired or the game's out of reach for one team or the other, and he goes in and takes a couple 5-yard out routes and turns them up the sideline, or a quick slant, takes it 60 yards. And all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe I should make sure this guy gets like a couple looks a game, know, and it snowballs. You get 3 looks a game and you make 2 plays. And then next week I give you 4 and you make 3 plays. Okay, I'm giving you 15, I'm getting you 10 plays and putting these numbers up.
What if he ends up being that depth piece that they try to hit on a couple vertical shots?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's got to be up there on the list of guys you would want to do vertical shots with, yeah.
Because like they had Marquise Goodwin here for that last year. We did see it end up coming to fruition later in the season. Like, I imagine they're going to try to do that with somebody. And maybe it's Jerry Jeudy up at the top, right? But there's got to be some other pieces that they try to get creative with. And Jamar
going to do that a lot in the slot, though.
I don't want to rain on parades, but I will say this: I was very impressed with his route running, his ability to dictate leverage, but I watched him try to block a few times.
Oh yeah,
it ain't there, and that might be what he needs to do to earn the trust.
Okay,
a lot of times that happens in wide receiver rooms. No block, no rock. That whole scenario.
But you've got some good blockers in that room ahead of you. So, like, it's not like they're completely devoid of guys that can do that. So it's like, we'll put him out there because no one else can do it either. There's some good blockers ahead of you. So, yeah, you definitely need that.
But that's all part of it, man. You got to develop all parts of your game. But that doesn't mean they won't sneak him on the field to try to get a couple vertical shots. But to earn a serious role as a receiver on this team, I think he's going to have to develop a little more as a blocker. And just don't run into rounds towards him again, because that's what happened. Like, I was like, oh, no. It's like, oh, no, everyone gets bummed. Like, oh, Stefanski's running into rounds again. It's like, yeah, well, you ran one at a rookie receiver, and he couldn't. He was in position to make the block. He just couldn't make the block. And then.
Yeah, it was.
Unfortunate.
It was right there for him. It's like, yeah, well, he'll be all right. Let's do one little exercise before we wrap this bad boy. This is the Barking Browns After Dark. This is when it gets weird.
I like a little Barking Browns After Dark.
Dude. Anyway. It's a hell of a ride, isn't it? You know what? My truck today said it was 103 degrees. I was like, well.
I was in a big heat box for most of the day today. And, yep. Casey, too.
Same.
I know that feeling. Thank God. I don't know how you do it, Casey. I listen, like,
It's the wrong state to move to do what I do. Like, I'll tell you that, it is hot.
You should be doing that up here. It's
like, we max get this temperature. I mean, you're from here, you know that. But we max like 3 months, maybe high end. It's been a hotter summer than normal.
Yeah,
like, I want this shit to I'm done. I hate it. I want snow, and I'll take ice any day. Then this shit. I hate it.
But the sun, it sucks, but it doesn't make like driving dangerous like ice does.
Yeah, okay. That's a
little. It causes depression.
Yeah. Seasonal depression.
Okay. So let Barking Browns After Dark. Okay. This time of year, the Yellow Jackets know they're gonna fucking die. Okay, and those are bastard creatures. Okay, they want the sugar and all the stuff I have, so they get very aggressive and harass me. And the amount of Yellow Jackets that I have murdered this summer in like the last couple weeks, because it just comes all of a sudden and they just bother you. I hate this time. I hate this time of year because it's just nonstop harassment from vile fucking creatures that I hate. Okay, sorry.
Ooh. We were talking about linebackers that are super good athletes. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon, one of the guys I talked about in my debut article on the OBI. Barrett Carter, the linebacker for Clemson. Now, there's an athlete at the position.
Also undersized.
Yep, 232-ish, like 232-ish, somewhere around there. So not super small, but like
6 footer.
Yeah, on a good day.
Same here.
Yeah. But it was really funny. So when I first submitted that article to the powers that be at the OBR, I get a message. I'm like, side to side speed. What does that mean? And I'm like, oh my God, because it should have said sideline to sideline, and I typed side to side. Like,
it works, right?
I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. But yes, his range. It's like, I think he has good instincts. Like, I think he has a combination of that. Like, he's got some issues form tackling. 17 missed tackles for a guy like that's around the football like that. I don't love to see it. It's not as bad as like some people would say, because he's going in for like 100 tackles. So like,
yeah,
it's still probably a decent enough rate, but oh my God.
He popped on the radar for me last year when we were doing draft stuff, and I'm looking up Jeremiah Trotter because he was eligible. Yeah. And then I'm watching Trotter, and I'm not liking Trotter because I like the other guy. I'm not sure if I don't like Jeremiah Trotter, but I'm sure I liked Barrett Carter.
I like Barrett Carter
because they're side by side basically, and I'm like, I'd rather have that guy. So we'll see how it goes.
And he can cover.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can, and it's just like, so if you're watching this game, follow Barrett Carter, number 0, hard to miss. As soon as you turn that tape on, you're gonna see it. Like,
so you said an exercise.
Yeah, are we doing this exercise? What
is
happened
this exercise?
Here? Who knows? That was something that past Jacob said. This Jacob has no idea what he was talking about. No.
Oh no. I'm getting
what did I say?
Called on me.
No, he's murdering Yellow Jacket.
Listen, they bother me, okay? They bother me.
I forgot about the Yellow Jacket.
I don't come to them. Anyway. All right. We need that. Jacob, do you have the exercise?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that guy was talking about.
All right. Well, then, we are one show away from Browns Cowboys.
Only one show away.
And And I think one of the bigger pieces of news that we didn't get to talk about that we probably should is just all the guys that are coming back. Right. We've got Jack Conklin maybe playing left tackle. Right. Swing tackle.
We'll talk about that on Tuesday. That's a whole show.
It is a whole show, but just initial reports of guys getting healthy. Where you at? How you feeling? What are you thinking?
I'm doing great. And like I'm doing great. The thing about Jed is it's interesting, just because like there's such this like sect of people that just really don't like him and they want to really not like him. And like I think he's average to above average, so like I'm good with that. But like I think it's outrageous how many people are trying to be like, oh, it's because he's lazy. Because he's lazy that he's not back out there on the practice field. It's just, okay, cool, whatever. But he's getting healthy. I think he could be your swing tackle. But having both of them active matters a lot to me, because if you go watch our show from last week, Casey even and I directly said it. Like right now, I'm at like a 5 or a 6 on the worry scale. But if next week those guys are still not here, I'm full-blown panic. Well, they're here. Jack Conklin has practiced multiple times now, had a rest day in between, and he's done a lot of sets on the left side. And I just really needed those guys back. And I'm interested to see left tackle Jack Conklin against Micah Parsons.
I want no part of that smoke. I don't like you ain't played left tackle since like 2016. I don't think it needs to be against Micah Parsons, man. Like I don't feel great about it either way, just because they're getting healthy. But what does that mean if you're going up against Micah Parsons?
Where are you at this?
If you were saying they're going to block Myles Garrett, how would you feel? Probably not great. And Mike is the other guy. Like
that's what I was going to say. It's pretty much close to the same thing.
It's closer than we want it to be. I'll say it that way.
It is, yeah.
Healthy's better than not healthy, but I don't know how much that helps you and how much it really changes your game plan. I think your game plan is still going to be, let's move this pocket over here. Let's ship this dude, give these guys all the help they can get, especially you're just coming back from injury. I'll say this, man. The fortitude of Jack Conklin needs to be studied. He tore everything in his knee.
Everything.
He tore his quad before that. Dislocated. Like
he had the patella in too. Like that's a... Yeah.
His injuries are on a Mick Foley level.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you look at his chart of his injuries of his body, it would be Mick Foley-esque, and he keeps coming back. Now, and it just keeps slipping my mind. That dude's 29 years old. Feels like he's way older than that because he's been in the league forever. You know what I mean? But the ability to stare up that mountain, knowing you tore everything, and he's all the way back.
And he's like, I'll play left. I don't care.
Dude, props to him, dude. That dude is a stud mentally, for sure.
You put Jack Conklin's face on the Monty Python thing.
Yeah, just a flesh wound. Dude's tough, man. To come back from all these and just
at
least outwardly he's unfazed. It sounds like he's like, yeah, I'll play left. Big deal.
Pop quiz.
That's really cool to see, because it's not like Jack's not like a roster bubble, low paid dude. You know what I'm saying? Like the Browns paid you, they guaranteed you a bunch of money. And maybe some tackles would be less willing to be flexible. And Jack's just like, whatever you need.
Especially for Micah Parsons. Like that's
right.
That's the assignment. Yeah, no problem.
For the first
I'm so encouraged by that. And I get it. This is not the ideal scenario that we are still dealing with lingering rehab injuries from last year, but at least we're on the cusp of having them back and having them healthy, right? It would be truly, I would say that the pulse of Browns fandom was kind of getting low there for a minute, trying to think about,
a lot of people are being very
like were we trotting James Hudson out against Micah Parsons? Was that the plan? I don't, so it's like at least we're not there.
I got pop quiz.
Let's go.
Jack Conklin edition. How many positions in the NFL has Jack Conklin played on the offensive line whilst in the NFL? No.
How many positions?
Did he play tight end and I didn't know it?
Does he play 3? Okay, 3. He's played
Are
guard.
you on Pro Bowls?
Nope. I'm counting his snaps at right tackle, right guard, and left tackle.
Wow.
Now, how many snaps does he have against as a left tackle?
I'll say under 10.
No.
Okay. How about 30? Really? 50.
67.
Damn.
He
Okay.
played 41 snaps at left tackle as a rookie in 2016. He played 26 snaps as a left tackle in 2017. And he's played 5 snaps at right guard. I didn't know he ever took snaps at right guard.
I just want to answer this question real quick. This is awesome that you're coming here, Serge, because honestly, like, I don't know the last time the Browns had a home opener at 425 or whatever.
Oh, the Nimrod's just going to be pure chaos.
It's I can't even imagine. Right. So I'm not 100% yet on if I will be in the Muni lot. I'm leaning towards going. So if that happens, I'll keep you in the loop, because I think just for the experience of it, like that is, you're talking about a legitimate almost 12 hours of tailgating if they let the people of the Muni lot, because there's going to be a line, right? Like, people are going to be camping out Friday night.
4 in the morning, because I've been in that line.
We sure have. And the line itself is a little tailgate.
Yeah. It just depends on like how well your air conditioning is working that morning.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah, that's all I got. Oh, how many sacks has Jack Conklin allowed in his career?
Give me an over-under.
50.
Under. Way under.
Under 50 is too high for me. Under.
Yeah, way under. I would expect that number to be under. I'd expect that number to be under 20.
40.
He's giving up 40?
Oh, no, he's giving up 18.
No, I was going to say, I expect that number to be under 20. I fully expected that. My first initial, when you first said it, was like 15. It just sounded, he's played a long time. Like you just said, like he played 67 snaps. Mm-hmm. Left tackle was a rookie, but that's 8 years ago.
That's crazy.
Like, that's crazy that he was a 21-year-old at the time. Obviously, he's 29 now.
He's essentially had 2 sacks allowed every year of his career, except there was a couple of years where he allowed 4 apiece. So it was 2-2, 4-4, 2-2, 2-0. Because, he only played 15 pass blocking snaps last year.
Mm-hmm.
Sun's out, guts out. Last time I was there, I met Sun's out, guts out dude at Pumpkinhead's tailgate.
Feel like you need to make your way to the Muni lot, my friend. Like, I think he tailgates over in West 6th. And, like, don't get me wrong, like, that's a fine tailgate as well. But, like, you got to walk the Muni lot. Like, I remember one time, we're full of Browns After Dark. Not Browns After Dark. Barking Browns After Dark.
BBAD.
Jacob really wanted a water, right? And all we had was beer.
I was like, did I? And I was like, oh, I know what we're talking about.
So I promise. I was like, Jacob, I will turn this beer into water. I was like, you just walk with me. So we just start walking. Yeah. And I'll go find some friendly people, and sure enough, we traded that beer for water, and everybody was happy. Like, you're gonna make friends. You're gonna make friends. People are gonna offer you food. People are gonna offer you beverages. People are gonna offer you all kinds of stuff. So that's up to you. Whatever you want your Muni lot experience to be, I would highly recommend you just walk up and down that baby, and you get your steps in too. What's not to like?
You even probably see the cyber dog.
You will definitely see. You cannot miss the cyber dog.
Yeah.
So with that, okay. So Tuesday, we will have Browns Cowboys preview. Wow.
We're here, baby. We did it.
We did it.
Look at us.
Tuesday is the final show before live Browns action. So
we'll be doing it. We'll be going on Friday, won't we?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's that too.
But here's the thing, though. So Tuesday will be the last show before NFL football, because by the Friday show, either the Chiefs or the Ravens are going to have a loss.
Oh man.
Did you see these? Did you see all this? This Tyler Huntley conspiracy theories that he was here to learn the offense and take it back. I hope it's real. I hope that was a legitimate thing that happened this year.
I don't know. I think okay. So I guess I want to send this out because I didn't get to talk to either of you about this. When the Chargers traded for Taylor Heineke, I said, son of a bitch, that's who the Browns were trying to trade Tyler Huntley to.
Yeah.
And it did not surprise me that immediately after, not immediately, but they released Huntley after that, because I think they were trying to move him to LA, and they just liked getting Taylor Heineke for probably cheaper than Andrew Berry was trying to send Huntley there for.
That was my question, because I don't think that they were asking for more than a sixth for Huntley. I would have guessed it would have been a seventh. I think they were just higher on Heineke.
Okay, sure.
That'd have been my guess, because Greg Roman's obviously familiar with Huntley. He speaks the same language. You've been able to add a quarterback late into camp who can assimilate quickly and be better than Easton's stick. You know what I mean? I think it would be a no-brainer to get Huntley in there. But they went Heineke for a conditional six. My first question was, what was the asking price for Huntley then?
I don't. Serge, I know what you're talking about, but
I saw that. It's just not. Let's not.
I don't want to get into that.
Yeah,
and I'm curious.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, it would. Regardless,
you're back.
I just want to say we got 672 of you here. We love you. If you will help us reach that 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, it would make all of us really happy in pursuing these dreams of this content. We made a second homage sale recently. I'll keep dropping those links. Put in the
got paid. SeatGeek paid us.
Oh, hey, there we go. And thank you guys for all that support. It means the world to us to just be able to sit here and talk about the Browns. Thank you. So if you're watching this, if you've made it this far, I love you. And if you click on the subscribe button on YouTube, I'd love you even more. So with that said, this has been a roster review, kind of cowboy preview, Barking Browns After Dark show. Pumpkin Candle. I'm Nick. He's Jacob. That's Casey. Go Pumpkin Spice. Go Browns.
Yeah, I can be